Compost is dead? Your garden needs these faster, easier soil alternatives. If you've been gardening for a while, you've probably heard it 1,000 times. Just add compost. Compost has been treated like the holy grail of soil health for decades. And yes, it works. But here's the honest truth most gardening channels won't tell you. En stu instan arwudan instura and sturai. Compost is slow, labor-intensive, and not always the best or fastest option for feeding your soil. Today on Roots Haven Grounds, we're talking about something that might sound a little controversial. Compost isn't the only way anymore. In fact, there are faster, easier, and often more effective alternatives that can build rich, living soil without waiting months for a pile to break down. Let's dig into the smarter way to feed your garden. Why traditional compost isn't always practical. Composting sounds simple, toss organic waste in a pile and wait, but in reality, it takes space, time, effort, and constant turning to get quality compost. Many gardeners end up with half-rotted material, pests, bad smells, or compost that still hasn't broken down after months. For small space gardeners, renters, or honestly, anyone who just wants quicker results, composting can feel like a chore rather than a solution. And, even finished compost can sometimes be low in nutrients if the ingredients weren't balanced. So instead of relying only on compost, it's time to explore soil-building methods that work with nature, not against your schedule. One of the easiest alternatives is the chop and drop method. Instead of removing plant trimmings, you simply cut leaves and stems and leave them right on the soil surface as mulch. This method feeds soil life immediately. Worms, fungi, and microbes pull those plant pieces down and break them apart much faster than a compost pile would. You're basically composting in place. It also protects the soil from heat, keeps moisture in, and prevents erosion. Plants like comfrey, sweet potato vines, pigeon pea, and even weeds before they seed make excellent chop and drop material. The best part? No turning, no hauling, no waiting. Trench composting, or compost without the pile, is honestly a game changer. If you still want to recycle kitchen scraps but, hate compost bins, trench composting is your secret weapon. You simply dig a shallow trench in your garden bed, bury your fruit and vegetable scraps, and cover them with soil. That's it. The soil organisms do the rest underground, where moisture and microbial activity break everything down much faster than above ground. There are no smells, no flies, and no rats digging through a pile. Nutrients go straight into the root zone where plants can access them. This method is especially powerful in raised beds or vegetable plots where you're already digging and planting. Mulching. Yeah, it's the lazy gardener's superpower. If compost builds soil slowly, mulch builds it continuously. Organic mulches like dry grass clippings, leaves, straw, shredded cardboard, and wood chips gradually decompose right on the soil surface. As they break down, they feed fungi and microbes that transport nutrients into the soil below. This fungal network improves soil structure, water retention, and nutrient exchange far beyond what compost alone can do. Mulching also reduces watering needs and suppresses weeds, saving you time and effort all season long. Over time, mulch literally turns into rich topsoil without you lifting a fork. Liquid fertilizers are like fast food for plants and soil. Sometimes plants need nutrients now, not months from now. That's where homemade liquid fertilizers really shine. Simple solutions like compost tea, manure tea, banana peel soak, or even weed tea deliver nutrients in a form plants can absorb quickly. These liquids also introduce beneficial microbes that support soil life. Liquid feeding is especially useful for heavy feeders like tomatoes, peppers, and leafy greens. Instead of waiting for compost to break down, you can boost plant growth within days. Used alongside mulching, liquid fertilizers create both short-term and long-term soil fertility. Green manures, also called cover crops, might just be the most powerful compost alternative of all. Instead of bringing in nutrients from somewhere else, you actually grow plants specifically to feed your soil. Fast-growing crops like cowpeas, sun hemp, clover, and mustard pull nutrients from deep down in the soil and store them in their leaves and roots. When you cut these plants down and leave them on the surface, they decompose really quickly, adding organic matter and nitrogen right back into your garden. Their roots also break up compacted soil and feed underground microbes while they're still alive, so that means soil improvement actually starts before you even cut them down. It's kind of like running a living compost system right in your garden beds. Biochar is charcoal made from plant material, and, well, it works like a sponge for nutrients and microbes. Unlike compost, which breaks down over time, biochar stays in the soil for years. When you soak it in manure tea, compost tea, or even liquid fertilizer, before adding it to your soil, biochar becomes a long-term nutrient reservoir. Plus, it improves drainage in heavy soils, and helps with water retention in sandy soils. So, biochar doesn't actually replace organic matter, but when you combine it with mulch and green manures, it really supercharges soil life and nutrient efficiency. You can kinda think of it as giving your soil a battery pack. Leaf mold. Yeah, it's kinda the forgotten soil builder. While compost mainly helps bacteria, leaf mold focuses on fungi, and fungi are absolutely key to healthy soil. Leaf mold is just decomposed leaves that break down into this dark, crumbly material packed with fungal life. If you pile up leaves in a corner and keep them a bit moist, they'll turn into leaf mold with hardly any effort. And honestly, this stuff improves soil structure and water holding capacity even better than compost alone. If your soil feels hard, dry, or just kinda lifeless, leaf mold can totally transform it into soft, sponge-like earth that roots absolutely love. You know, the biggest mistake gardeners make is relying on just one method. Nature doesn't build soil from a single source, and honestly, neither should we. Mulch feeds fungi on the surface. Liquid feeds, well, they nourish plants instantly. Green manures grow living roots underground. Chop and drop returns nutrients right where they grew. And biochar, that stuff stores nutrients long-term. When you combine these methods, you actually create a self-sustaining soil system that works faster and, yeah, requires way less effort than just managing one big compost heap. Instead of waiting like 6 months for compost, your soil improves every single day. Here's the real goal: living soil, not just finished compost. Compost isn't the final destination. Living soil is. Soil filled with worms, fungi, bacteria, and organic matter will feed your plants naturally, hold water during drought, and even resist pests and diseases. You know, a lot of these quicker alternatives actually support soil life even better than finished compost, since they feed those organisms continuously instead of just dumping everything in one big application. When soil life is thriving, plants really thrive too. Growth gets stronger, harvests get bigger, and honestly, your whole garden just becomes so much more resilient. And hey, you'll spend less time hauling compost and a lot more time actually enjoying your harvest. Start small, start now. You definitely don't have to give up compost completely, but you can stop depending on it as your only solution. Maybe try mulching just one bed, or bury some kitchen scraps in a trench. You could even grow a quick cover crop between your plantings, soak some biochar in manure tea, or just cut and drop weeds before they go to seed. Seriously, small changes add up really fast, and you'll notice the difference in soil texture, moisture retention, and plant growth a lot sooner than you might expect. Your garden doesn't need more waiting. It needs smarter, simpler soil building habits. Healthy soil shouldn't feel like hard labor. With these faster and easier alternatives, you can build rich, productive garden beds using natural processes that do most of the work for you. If you found this helpful and you want more practical, no-nonsense gardening tips, make sure you subscribe to Roots Haven Grounds and share this with a fellow gardener who's tired of turning compost piles. Let's grow smarter, not harder.